So the next Legend of Zelda game is definitely a really interesting thing. So far, we know a couple things about the next game. We know that it's going to be a split reality or dimensions type of game that is going to have a bunch of different areas that you are able to explore. It seems like this game will also be an open world. However, I found a video this morning that was fan made, of course, that looked really convincing and really interesting on what the next Legend of Zelda game could be. So let's get into it. I think that this is great. The next Legend of Zelda game is super interesting. Since it's split dimension or split reality, this means that you can go anywhere. It doesn't necessarily have to be stuck in one specific environment, but you could go every single different place. So we know it's going to be open world. Most likely what's going to be happening is the different dungeons are going to be placed in different realities. So if it's open world, it doesn't have to be like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. It could be something completely new, and it could be that you are all of a sudden inside of Ocarina of Time, and there you go. You're doing dungeons from those older games. This would be fantastic, and it would allow the Legend of Zelda series to connect to one another, and potentially this would be the game that would be sort of making the timeline whole again. Instead of having that split in Ocarina of Time, you can have every single one if you're going back in time. Now, the video that I saw this morning was definitely really interesting. It was about the Legend of Zelda Wind Waker 2. Now, keep in mind, Wind Waker, you're pretty much sailing the entire ocean sea, the entire game. But there's one part that you are able to go to actual Hyrule, and this is the part that I'm talking about. What if they made a game surrounding that, or using the Wind Waker style? I think the Wind Waker style is honestly one of the greatest art style in gaming, because it doesn't ever really age. You can see a game from 2001 like that, The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, and you'll be like, yeah, I can definitely still play this. It still looks phenomenal. Of course, the HD version is going to give you much more vibrancy and more graphical upgrades, and if we're talking about gameplay, better gameplay. But besides that, the art style looks absolutely amazing. So imagine that, having a Legend of Zelda experience in the toon style once again. We only had a couple toon style games. One of them was Triforce Heroes, which was the toon style. We also had The Legend of Zelda Link Between Worlds, sort of toon style. Wind Waker, yeah, and Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks was toon style. Besides that, it wasn't really Wind Waker toon style, so this game would definitely be awesome. I love the idea of this, because then you could have the return of traditional dungeons in more of an open world format. Because Wind Waker already did become the first open world. Because really, when you look at it, that game was open world because you could go anywhere you want. You could sail the Great Seas to whatever island you want. Technically, it was linear into the limitations that you had with the items that you didn't have yet, but besides that, it was pretty much open world. Imagine that, instead of sailing the high seas, you are actually going to be on land this time around. And inside this Legend of Zelda game, you could go anywhere. You could go Ocarina of Time. You can go to like A Link Between Worlds. You could go to different dungeons and different areas that you've seen previously in the Legend of Zelda series. I honestly love the idea of that. Like, I like how games sometimes do this. There's some games that you are able to traverse like an open world, and then all of a sudden you jumped into a portal and the game sort of changed. One big one that I will mention is Split Fiction, because if you played that game with a friend or something, you'll realize that you'll be able to go in between like a portal, and then all of a sudden the game is different. It really looks different, and it's like seamless. It's honestly awesome. So the dungeons could technically be Wind Waker dungeons. Those dungeons were honestly really fun and really exciting. Plus, the combat style could be Wind Waker as well. Because don't you think that had like such amazing combat style? I honestly did. You were able to switch around your sword, and it was just so easy to understand how the gameplay actually works. And honestly, I think that this would make for the perfect Legend of Zelda experience, because then you're experiencing everything once again, and the game wouldn't really get old. Like, if you look, for example, Breath of the Wild. We all thought that game looked amazing, fantastic 7 years ago. But now if you look at it, it still looks good, don't get me wrong, but it's starting to show its age, if you know what I mean. Same thing goes with Twilight Princess. They just did an HD version of that, and that looks more outdated than if you were to look at Wind Waker, because it's so vibrant, because the colors, the art, the style of everything is so beautiful. So the next Legend of Zelda game, I would absolutely love to see it in this sort of Wind Waker style. Overall, if we weren't going to look at this specifically, this would make so much sense for Nintendo to do, because for the longest time, the Legend of Zelda fans wanted one game, or maybe two games, Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD, to return, but we haven't seen that to this point. So wouldn't that make sense to have the Legend of Zelda be the Legend of Zelda Toon Link Returns, sort of? That would honestly be the best case scenario in my opinion. I honestly love this idea. Like, imagine that, being able to go to different dungeons, like different dimensions, different realities. Like, it doesn't have to be the entire game is Toon. It could just be a part of the game is Toon. You're going to a Toon Link special. So this is my perfect, brilliant idea. You're starting off as Link. It could be Breath of the Wild Link or whatever. You start off at this open world, open environment, whatever the case may be, and then all of a sudden you just make your way over to a different area, and then there's a portal or a rift that opens up, and all of a sudden you're in a different area of Hyrule than you were previously. That would be like a really cool thing. And then the art style could completely change. Now I understand that this game might take a long time to do if they're going to change the art style 20 different times to complement with this sort of reality game, but that's technically what it is. If the game is truly going to be the reality game, I believe it's Tears in Reality or Tears of Reality, this game would definitely work like this, because you would be able to tear through reality to go to a different reality. Like, if you've seen any shows or even Back to the Future in some way from time travel, well, this time around different realities could be different ways. Like, one, Hyrule could be completely flooded, which would be Wind Waker. Another one, Hyrule could be in complete darkness, could be a Lorule or something. Another one, Hyrule could be completely destroyed, who knows. Like, that's what a reality game would be, and this would work perfectly. It would align to everything that we've seen so far in The Legend of Zelda, and sort of make that timeline connected in every way. Now, does Nintendo really care about the timeline, or do they throw it up all together just to say, Legend of Zelda fans, shush, we made a timeline? It could be true, but don't you think this would be like the best case scenario? Plus, in 2027, we are going to be getting the Legend of Zelda movie, it's going to show probably Ocarina of Time and more lore on the Legend of Zelda series. So yeah, if it's going to be Tears in Reality, this would be like the best game for those who are looking lore and those who just like other games. Like, I love Wind Waker. This would be awesome, being able to see Wind Waker in a different reality. Also, being able to say A Link Between Worlds, a different reality as well. Breath of the Wild, hey, maybe Link didn't go kaput 100 years. He didn't go sleeping for 100 years, and all of a sudden you wake up and things are different. Because I always wanted to see Hyrule in actual light. That game ends off and it's pretty much just rewinding from where you last saved. But imagine that. You beat the boss, and then you have Hyrule Light. If you want to, you can watch this video right here that I made a couple of years ago. It probably still holds up. Anyways, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think The Legend of Zelda Tears in Reality with Wind Waker style would be cool? Or do you think Tears in Reality doesn't mean much, it's just going to be a Legend of Zelda game? Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. Consider it that like button, maybe subscribing if you're new. We do a bunch of different Nintendo content on this channel. Anyways, see you in the next one.